Around growing season, advanced growing systems, and deep-rooted partnerships between growers, academia, and industry. Yuma offers a unique environment where new technologies can be born, tested, and scaled. It's where innovation meets practicality, and it's where challenges of desert agriculture inspire bold solutions. Today, we celebrate two historic milestones: the dedication of the first 34 ag towers in the Yuma Broadband Project and the signing of two Arizona tech bills into law, both groundbreaking steps that will transform connectivity and automation in agriculture. We are honored to have with us Governor Katie Hobbs, Senator Tim Dunn, Arizona Department of Agriculture Director Paul Brierly, Yuma County Supervisor Jonathan Lyons, Jeff Sabaka from Vivacity, and members of our Arizona legislature. I also want to notice the partners from Yuma County, including all of our sister cities that partners for making this vision a reality. At this time, please welcome Paul Brierly, Director of the Arizona Department of Agriculture. Paul is a lifelong advocate for innovation in farming and was instrumental in launching the Yuma Ag Towers during his time leading the Yuma Center of Excellence for Desert Agriculture. Today, he'll share the story behind this groundbreaking initiative and its impact on ag tech in our region.
Thank you, Tanya. It's always great to be back in Yuma. Hi, everybody. Really proud and excited to be here to celebrate where we're at. And I was asked today to give a little history of how we got here. So how did we get here? It started with Mark Smith. And Mark, you need to stand up and just let him see who you are. So probably about 8 years ago, Mark realized that internet connectivity here was very lacking. He would drive around any place he was at in the state, probably the country, and test out what did they have on their mobile phones, and compare it to what was here in Yuma. And he knew there was a problem. At the same time, ag tech was really moving forward in precision agriculture. Western Growers was doing all sorts of things in California, working with Silicon Valley, attracting talent, attracting investment. But we had the same needs and the same type of environment and farmers here that weren't getting that kind of attention. So we didn't want Yuma to be left behind. Mark pulled together the community, as Yuma comes together as no other community that I've seen, and we tried to put political pressure on the incumbent carriers because they were not investing here. There was no improvement being done. I experienced it firsthand when I moved here. I couldn't get the same service that I had in Phoenix, even though the guy that I bought the house from had the same service, but they wouldn't give it to me because they didn't have the capacity. So we worked together, the whole community, not just agriculture, working with the Arizona Corporation Commission. We had the support of senators, congressional, governor's office, everything. That had almost zero impact. Verizon did do some investment in their towers, which was really helpful when COVID came along. But we learned that the incumbent carriers weren't going to invest and add fiber here. So we switched tactics. We started working on the County Board of Supervisors. And we said, this is really critical infrastructure. You need to support it. Even if it's with property tax, you need to figure out a way to get this infrastructure in Yuma. And about in the middle of that, along came COVID. And COVID changed three things. Changed a lot of things, but there's three relevant things here. One was the State Broadband Office was created, and Jeff Sabaka headed that up at the time. Very helpful on things. Another was it changed broadband from being perceived as kind of a luxury to being a necessity, right? And then the third was that a lot of money was thrown at state and local governments. So there was money out there now. So we worked really hard to get a shovel-ready project. What we found was you had to have something ready to go or people can't fund you. So a lot of people working together came up with this idea of the middle mile fiber network for the county to own and provide that to reduce the barriers to service providers coming in, and that it would continue to be a county-owned facility so that it's got equal access and hopefully entice service providers to come in and give service. And they contracted with Allo, Allo's been a great partner in all this. I think I saw some Allo shirts. Yeah, they deserve a hand. And that is, as you all know, in the middle of being becoming a reality, providing service throughout the county. And that was the other key, is there wasn't connectivity except in Yuma. So now throughout the county, you've got access to connectivity. The last step was working, especially with Supervisor Lyons and Governor Ducey's office, to get funding for these wireless towers. I got a call on, I don't remember what year, but December 30th, I believe, from Nick Capozzi, who's now the state broadband director, saying, we're gonna get you the $6 million for the towers, but you have to do the contract by December 31st. So thank you, Ian, and the county stepped up and did that contract. Governor Hobbs renewed support for that $6 million, and that's how we got to where we are today. So it's really wonderful to be here celebrating. This is going to be the place that researchers internationally want to come. And what I've always said is, not only does it allow our agriculture industry to use the latest and greatest technology, but it allows this to be the place that latest and greatest technology is developed. So a huge economic opportunity, both for the industry, but for the state as a whole. So thank you, Governor, for coming out, and what a great day for Yuma. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Next, I'm excited to introduce Jeff Sabaka, Senior Vice President of Vivacity and a former state Arizona broadband director. Jeff has been driving force behind expanding connectivity across Arizona, and today he'll dive into the specifics of the Yuma Ag Tower Broadband Project and how this infrastructure is powering innovation and transforming our region.
Thank you, Tanya. So I'm, again, Jeff Sabaka, Senior Vice President with Vivacity, EX Squared, which is our entity that's building the project. We design and build these large wireless and fiber optic infrastructure projects all over the country, things like the Indiana Toll Road, the Atlanta Beltline. But as an Arizona native, I'm very proud about the work we're doing here in Arizona, in Navajo County and Pima County, and right here in Yuma County. Again, I wanted to thank Mark and Paul and Tanya for really being the visionaries behind this, and most importantly, Governor Hobbs for funding this thing. So the project consists of 34 big, large steel towers to cover 160,000 acres. You don't get a scope of that driving through Yuma. This is massive. And this is some of the most productive farmland in the country, as you'll find out from others. The applications that are going to be run on this are incredible. Everything from the drones and things that you see flying around to sensors and self-driving farm vehicles. Each tower has an 18-sided shaft and base plate that's embedded into the ground. These are very secure. We've gone through a couple iterations to make sure they're super secure for things like wind shear, even theoretically earthquakes. The thing that I found interesting was driving in here today, I saw a very large wind blade for one of those big powers. So obviously there's a lot of wind in Yuma if that's something that we have to worry about. The tower is going to be utilizing the fiber optic middle-mile network built by Allo. So again, just like a hand into a glove, this is going to fit really well in terms of connectivity. And again, this is something else that Governor Hobbs was instrumental in getting pushed through. The towers are built in several key steps. The first step is what we call a radio frequency or RF study. Picture drawing a large donut around each tower and making sure that you have coverage areas, and these coverage areas are all taken up throughout the county itself. It's a technical due diligence process to make sure that when everything gets turned on, it works correctly as it is expected. Different technologies, and one of the things that we were very adamant about from the beginning, and this is Mark's vision, is to be technology agnostic. Whether it's something like a 4G or a 5G or a LoRaWAN sensing, everything will be able to tap into this. This is something that allows for innovation once the thing is built. The next step is geotech, which is basically the subsurface rock and such that we're going to take a look at. It's essentially a stress test for the soil to make sure that towers will be able to stand up and work correctly. And that actually starts on Monday, so we're excited about that. The permitting on the tower sites is something we're working on with Josh and Ian in the county. Super helpful, making sure that we take advantage of all the existing right-of-ways and things that they have in place. And the plans to put the foundations for the towers in early spring, and then the towers themselves up towards the summer with a final completion date of August of 2026. So this is all happening very fast. It's taken a lot to get to this point, and we're very excited to play an important role in this project, along with Yuma County, the Board of Supervisors, and Governor Hobbs and her administration. So thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. Now please welcome Jonathan Lyons, Yuma County Supervisor for District 2. Jonathan has been a steadfast advocate for our agriculture community and understands how critical connectivity is for Yuma and the future of farming. He'll share why the wireless broadband project is so important, not just for Yuma County growers, but our entire regional economy in Yuma County. Jonathan.
Thank you very much, Tanya. First and foremost, I need to acknowledge County, my fellow supervisors. Would you guys stand up? This is one of the most, the best boards that I've ever served on. Ian and Josh, stand up too. Chairman Porches has been an excellent partner, along with Supervisor Simmons and Supervisor Pancrazi. I could not work with a better board. You have truly robust support for the community here with the board, and then we've got Alejandro in the back, who's been exceptionally helpful catching everything else. So thank you. During COVID, as was mentioned, there was a challenge with connectivity, and I received a call from one of my good friends that I had gone to grade school with and high school with, Jose Cáceres, over at 4th Avenue Junior High School, and he said, Jonathan, he says, I have to send kids home during COVID, and they have no connectivity. They're severely disadvantaged. And it kind of set the stage for the next call that I received. And everybody knows Mark. And you got to be prepared for an hour-long conversation when you take the phone call. I'm not throwing him under the bus. I'm just preparing you. I'm a slow learner. Then after that, Corey would call quite often, and then Pat, all wanting connectivity and all asking for support. Yuma County received ARPA funds. We designated 50% of those funds to build a fiber backbone for this community, for every community, from the East County down to the border. And I'm incredibly grateful for the supervisors for seeing that and collaborating. It was a 5-0 decision to spend that money and to build that backbone for Yuma County. That's going to bless future generations. What was that? Key? Oh, sorry. That was key. That's how we got here. The next phone call that I got from Mark, well, there were like 500 in between. But then he said, okay, we've got the backbone. Now we need to look at this mesh network. And I said, please tell me a little bit more about it. Talk to me about some of the challenges. And I knew, and I had had the opportunity to sit down with some of the providers, Verizon, Spectrum, and others, asking them to support this community and to upgrade our service. And it wasn't a very good conversation. They were the 800-pound gorillas in the room, and yet didn't necessarily want to support our community. And so it was very easy to go back to the supervisors to collaborate and invest additional resources, time, and material into this project. And it's an honor to stand with you today as we dedicate this project that will define the future of agriculture. I want you to think about that. It will define the future of agriculture, not just in Yuma County, but across the nation and worldwide. The mayor and I, thank you, Mayor, for being here. We're in Taiwan recently, and as we discussed what we were implementing here in Yuma County, a lot of people had never considered high-tech farming and why that was so important. And we now have a contingency coming in January to take a tour of our community and learn more about it and to see how they can collaborate. This project has garnered worldwide attention. We're launching a fiber-connected, multi-tower mesh network designed specifically for growers, scientists, and innovators who feed America. This network will bring cutting-edge connectivity directly to the fields, linking technology, data, and people in ways that will reshape how we grow our food. What makes it especially meaningful is that this new system is built upon that backbone that the county provided. Over the past few years, we've dedicated millions of dollars from the county to this network, and it's laid the foundation for what we're celebrating here today. It's a demonstration of a long-term vision. We didn't just plan for a faster internet, we planned for a smarter future. Mark and I had several conversations talking about the canal system. Somebody had a vision 100 plus years ago and started on this canal system. And we build upon that today, and we provide agriculture, we provide the leafy greens, wheat, any number of the other varieties that are grown here in Yuma to the rest of the nation. And it's because somebody had a vision, and I'm grateful for my supervisors and those who were involved in this project for having that vision to be able to see forward. This is also a bipartisan success story. I want to recognize the leadership of Governor Hobbs and Governor Ducey, two governors from different political parties who both understood that strengthening Arizona's food supply is not a partisan act. Feeding the nation is not political, it's essential. It's about ensuring that American agriculture remains strong, innovative, and resilient. Through this mesh network, Yuma farmers will have real-time access to information and control systems that will transform their operations. We will see autonomous implements, precision irrigation, real-time water monitoring, and countless innovations yet to be imagined. This technology will help use every drop of water more precisely. And that couldn't be more timely, given the current situation around water. It will protect our soil, increase our yields, and augment Yuma's reputation as America's winter salad bowl capital. Beyond this technology, most importantly, technology is always in the forefront, but in the end, it's about people. The men and women in whose hands this knowledge will keep our food supply strong. They deserve the same level of connectivity, which was Mark's point. We have something in Silicon Valley. What about here? What about for the food that we need? What about for food security and national security? They'll have every opportunity as an urban entrepreneur. And today we take another step forward for that commitment. This project is a proof of what's possible when state leadership, county government, and the private sector work together with vision and trust. It's also a reminder that progress happens when we think generationally. I need you to think about that. It's not just about now. It's not just about 20 years. This is a generational commitment. As we dedicate this network, let it stand as both a tool and a symbol for innovation and sustainability, a symbol of Yuma County's leadership in building a connected, resilient future. Thank you to every partner, every engineer, every farmer, every phone call from the ag community, every leader who believed in this vision. Together, we are connecting more than towers. We're connecting the future of farming 1 acre at a time. Thank you.
Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you, Yuma County, for all that you do in our partnership. I appreciate it. Okay, it's now my pleasure and privilege to introduce Arizona Senator Tim Dunn, a proud Yuma County farmer and a champion for Arizona agriculture. Senator Dunn isn't just talking about innovation, he's helping to make it happen, supporting the two groundbreaking bills, the Broadband Service District Authority Bill, which created the nation's first governance model for ag-specific broadband infrastructure, and the autonomous farm vehicle bills, opening the door for autonomous farm equipment to legally travel on Arizona highways and roadways. These just aren't policies, they're policies that support the future of farming. Please join me in welcoming Senator Tim Dunn.
Thank you, Tanya. Yuma agriculture grows innovation, successfully feeding America year in and year out. Everything that we've been talking about today, we've been able to do that up to this point. And it's like Jonathan said, we're looking to the future generationally. It's my privilege to be able to serve this community, but it's more importantly, being able to come back here, having what I thought would be something to do out here on the farm. Our farm is behind us. My parents, Floyd and Jeanette Dunn, here. That's where I was raised at. I got my wife Eileen here, my youngest son Ty here. Generationally, this is the example of generationally working on what do we do for the next generation. My grandkids, little daughters aren't here, and being able to be out here on the farm. We at the state do things all the time in a bunch of buildings and go to what kind of chicken dinner we're going to tonight. But being able to be out here on the farm with local farmers and individual business folks and elected officials, this is where the rubber meets the road. This is where we're really doing things, working with our university, working with YCETA, working with the elected leaders, getting to this point. You heard how we got here. You heard why we're doing these kind of things. I won't reiterate all those, but I think some of them are critical. When the world is watching, like Jonathan said when we went to Taiwan, TSMC, if you haven't been out here, TSMC used to be Intel. Yuma Agriculture was the Intel of the agriculture for the rest of the world. TSMC is a company, but it's got worldwide vision and worldwide watch. They want to come do business with TSMC in Arizona. We want them to, now this broadband authority and this broadband situation has worldwide attention. What people are going to come and do innovation here. What are they going to do? Because we're already pillars. We're already the ones that are the envy of the world as far as what we can do with the current technology we have, how we feed America. But it's like the next step. What are they going to be able to do here to take back to other parts of the world? And that's what this is going to take us to the next level. And I appreciate my colleagues, Representative Sandoval and Representative Carbone, for supporting me on these two bills as we did at the Capitol. So specifically, as we get into we have all these ideas, we're doing these things. How do we do with the broadband? We get the towers built. How do we manage it? Are we going to keep calling Jonathan? Figure out what about the towers today? Who's going to manage it? Is the county going to do it? And so we had an idea of let's do an authority like the airport authority or like another metropolitan planning authority, but there wasn't one that existed. We had to have certain things, and each one of those have different rules. We don't want to have it a taxing authority. We don't want to have certain things. So we had to really research since October of last year. We worked on this throughout the session with our colleagues and trying to figure out a broadband authority. What would that look like? Make sure that we allow the counties to have this. That's what it does. It allows the counties to pick and assess and design, and actually appoint a broadband authority. We didn't say exactly how it had to be, but it had certain parameters that it was allowed to have. That's key. So other counties down the road, if they change the legislation, right now this is specific to Yuma because this is the test bed. And I got to step back a little bit because people are looking at broadband with all the new satellite, Starlink technology. They felt like we were going backwards. But if you look at the systems and you look at what we need for upload, we need to make sure that we're able to take the data, all the sensors that we're talking about. We need to be able to upload that. And right here on this site, we'll be able to have a server, and it'll be able to upload the information that comes from those sensors. That's different than what happens into a Starlink download fast internet service. So we had to make sure that we understood that we're not going backwards. We're taking the current technology, and we don't know what's going to be on these towers down in the future. So we had to give the broadband authority that ability to do that and work. And so we had to educate my colleagues to make sure that we understood that and why we needed an authority. So we're taking from the government, having a quasi-government, individuals with the petition is that the irrigation districts will put a designated person from their irrigation district. Those are elected leaders by their boards, and so they will be able to manage this authority. So it has a layer of oversight, and yet then we'll be able to have private industry, because like we were talking about, this is the pioneering in 2025 that was done 100 years ago in irrigation systems. When we move and transition in our agricultural operations to relying on this, it's going to be critical infrastructure. You can't wait for it because, it's a Veterans Day yesterday, no one's going to answer the phone. It's 4-day weekend, we have to be able to get things fixed. We have to make sure that just like the irrigation systems, they run 365, 24/7. We need to make sure that this system is going to be up and running. Things break down, that happens, we do that all the time, but we just need to make sure it's managed that way. So that was the biggest thing for the Broadband Authority bill, to making sure we had that happen, and it passed out unanimously on both House chambers, and we had a great signature. We're going to do a ceremonial signature signing here today. So thank you, colleagues, for that. But that's the details of how we manage the system. And so that was the first bill. The second bill that we're talking about and celebrating today is the autonomous tractors. At the convention this last year, at the YCETA Tech Conference, had a conversation on the panel of where we're going in the future, autonomous vehicles, and what does it look like for the state of Arizona? What is our governance? So if you've ever been up to Scottsdale or the airport, you've seen the Waymo cars running around without anybody in them. They've truth tested those. They don't have drivers in them. There's somebody operating them on a panel behind me. They're operating themselves, but there's somebody watching those. And that's technology exists. What does it happen for agriculture? Currently now, because we added through Mr. Medler's help with the Western growers, we were working on how do we implement this in the actual ag statutes. And implements of husbandry exist. We have certain rules and laws as we manage our equipment as we go onto the roadways. And so we added autonomous vehicles into this language. So as it develops, we're going to make sure that we have that same governance over the autonomous vehicles. And so that's what was signed into law. That's what we're going to ceremonially sign today, to making sure that it's in implements of husbandry. Because if you have farms in Texas Hill out to Yuma, you're going to go through 4 different cities. We do not want 4 different cities having their jurisdiction on how they want to apply their governance for autonomous vehicles. And we're not saying we're going to put a tractor with an 18-foot wide disc coming down the road here, tomorrow. We don't know what that technology is going to be, but we want to make sure it's state governed. We have state oversight of how this is going to look, and we can change that over time. So that is the second bill that we're doing. It allows them to be operating on public roadways. So we have farmers here today. We have farms all down the road. Our farm here, our other farm down the road. Down the road, we want to be able to make sure we move the autonomous tractor safely down to that and legally. So we can today. The 2 tractors are here. They can work autonomously on the fields because they haven't been truthed out on the roads. They're going to have operators in them, and when they leave, they can drive autonomously. But they're going to be in there because they have not truthed them out on the fields yet, out on the roads. So that's why we'll have them drive away with 2 operators in them. But we want the test bed. We got some case folks here, some John Deere folks here. And people that are looking, we want you to come to Arizona. We want you to come to Yuma County and figure out how to take your autonomous vehicles and your equipment. Work at the experiment station down. Work on this 160,000 acres. Take this to the next level. We're open for business. We want you to come do your stuff here because we're able to do it day in and day out, and we have the growers that are ready to work with you and partner with you, the universities that are ready to partner with you. Those are the 2 bills that we passed. Those are 2 bills that we're celebrating today, along with the actual system. This is how we're going to be able to continue to innovate. And I appreciate it. And actually, Yuma, the more I'm out of Yuma, the more I understand how good Yuma does as far as partnering with our local cities, our county supervisor, and our state, and our federal government. We have a conversation. We work on what's best for Yuma County. If it's good for Yuma County, it probably will be good for other parts of the state. So we do a great job, and it's because we have interaction with our citizens, and you guys are engaged. You come to the Capitol all the time, but you're engaged, and you do a lot of things, and we appreciate that. But it's a testament for the ability for Yuma County. With that, we're very happy.
Thank you, Senator Dunn. At this time, it gives me great pleasure to introduce Arizona's Governor, Katie Hobbs. Governor Hobbs has been a steadfast advocate for Arizona agriculture and rural innovation, making Yuma a priority in her leadership. She helped pass those 2 bills that she'll be signing here soon into law, and the support of the funding for the Ag Tower broadband project. Those combined will help us continue to supply the food for North America in the wintertime. So with that, let me introduce to you Katie Hobbs.
Thank you so much. Good morning. I am so happy to be here with all of you to celebrate this wonderful project and these 2 important bills. As you know, Arizona's agriculture industry has been ingrained in who we are as a state and as a people. You heard Senator Dunn say that what's happening in Yuma is the TSMC of agriculture. Supervisor Lyons said the future of agriculture is happening right here. And that is so true, but we're building on the foundations that have been ingrained in our state from the beginning. The communities across the state were built on the backs of farmers. Farmers have powered our economy throughout our statehood and have sparked so much innovation when it comes to water management, science, and feeding America and beyond. Even as other industries emerge, agriculture remains at the heart of who we are as a state. The fields that once depended solely on sweat and sunlight are now guided by sensors and satellites. And nowhere is the advancement of technology in agriculture more evident than here in Yuma. You've heard today that we're advancing Arizona agriculture by taking advantage of these new technologies. With the Yuma County Middle Mile Project and the broadband towers that we've helped fund, we're establishing a high-capacity broadband backbone, making a game-changing impact that supports real-time data collection, autonomous equipment, and remote sensing for next-generation farming. Increased connectivity also improves efficiency by enabling precision irrigation systems that reduce water waste and optimize usage, supporting soil health monitoring through sensor networks and AI-driven analytics, streamlining labor through automation and remote equipment management, and facilitating early detection of crop stress, pests, and disease for timely and precise intervention. These projects are expected to be fully operational before the end of next year, and I'm so excited to see how it will transform lives and livelihoods. And you've already gotten a pretty detailed rundown of the two bills that we're gonna ceremonial sign here today, but I was really proud to sign these bills that will enable Yuma farmers to take advantage of the new system. Senate Bill 1320, enabling the legal operation of autonomous farm equipment on public roadways and highways, and Senate Bill 1661, establishing a governance framework to ensure the long-term sustainability and oversight of ag-specific broadband networks. Together, these legislative actions and infrastructure investments position Arizona at the forefront of agricultural innovation and rural economic development. These are exactly the kind of projects that we need to be highlighting as we fight to protect Arizona's Colorado River water. Yesterday marked a deadline set by the federal government for the 7 states to have a consensus deal, and that deadline has come and gone. The Upper Basin states, led by Colorado, have taken an extreme negotiating position and refused to put any water on the table to share in future water shortages. Not only do they refuse to commit any water use reductions, they tell our negotiators that it is too complicated and impossible for them to reduce water use. And I have a really hard time believing that. I have a hard time believing that it's impossible to conserve water when I stand before you and see some of the country's most sophisticated ag tech. The truth is that if they wanted to conserve, they would. We're going to keep fighting to protect our Colorado River water because Arizona's water users have done the right thing for decades, just like Yuma has demonstrated here today. We shouldn't be punished for leading the way in conservation and cutting-edge practices. At its core, the advancement of agriculture isn't just about machines or data or science. It's about people. It's about helping a grower make a living from the land that their family has tended for generations. It's about creating new opportunities for young people to stay and grow in the communities that raise them. And it's about strengthening Arizona's economy in a way that honors the past while keeping up with the future. When agriculture thrives, we all thrive, and I'm so proud to be with you today to celebrate the future of Arizona agriculture. Thank you.
Thank you, Governor Hobbs. And thank you to all of our speakers for sharing your insight and your leadership. At this time, I'd like to invite all of our Arizona legislature members who are here and distinguished dignitaries, if you're sitting in the front row, that's you, to join Governor Hobbs for a very special moment, signing the 2 historic ag bills that will be shaping the future of Arizona. You will all stand behind her. She will be sitting down, and we will all squish together really close for the picture. And then once the signing is complete, we'll celebrate the second milestone, the ribbon cutting of the first of the 34 ag towers in Yuma County. We will be over in front of the 2 tractors, and again, Governor Hobbs in the middle, and then we will all cut the ribbon. So with that, we will make our way to the signing.
Front row, if you'll come in around us in a semicircle back. Fill in.
Can we move back a little so we can all get a wide shot, please?
Yeah, you're good.
have some on this end? Yes, I just want to have some of these people on this side, please. One or two people on this end, please come onto this end.
Good call. Solid, but scoot up probably. You probably scoot up a little bit too.
Yeah. If you want to move a little bit to the left, there we go. Okay. All right. Governor, feel free. Why don't we do a pose photo first? Let's all look here. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now you can sign. Can you move?
This is 1661.
No, you're not. You're good, right? We're all good?
Es el que se está atrás en la bocina.